Hi, I'm Annie Meehan with H3 TV. Thank you so much for joining us again for our Wednesday weekly talk show. We missed last week. Sorry about that. I was out traveling, but I do appreciate all of you that tune in, listen, comment, and ask us questions. My desire for this H3 talk show is that we bring hope, health, and happiness into the world where people are feeling hopeless, unhealthy, or unhappy. We meet you every week. We bring someone to interview to share their tips and ideas on one of the factors in H3. Today, I have with me my guest, Connie, and she's going to share her tips on how to get and stay happy. Won't you please help me welcome Connie to our talk show? Hi, Connie. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, Annie. It's wonderful to be here, and thank you for inviting me. I'm a big fan of yours.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. So, Connie, tell us, who are you? What do you do?
Okay, so I am actually a retired writing professor from the University of Maryland and Johns Hopkins University. I taught for over 40 years. Okay, and after I retired, some people just retire, but I kind of got a new life and did a second act in my life, and now I'm on my third act. I'm actually, and I have 6 grandchildren, and I'm a grandmapreneur.
Well, what the heck is a grandmapreneur?
Well, it's a person who's an entrepreneur, but my priority is my grandchildren, so I do both.
Very good. You have your priorities in life. I hear that being a grandma is the most wonderful job or role in the world. I'm not quite there yet. I've got a few years, hopefully a few years before I'm ready to be a grandma. But today we're talking, Connie, about happiness. And I'd love to know, what are your keys to being happy? Do you have 3 to 5 things that you could tell us about that help you to get happy and to stay happy?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about, this is such a wonderful topic. I never thought about it before. Okay, so I'm going to start with 3, and then I might expand a little bit if that's okay. Perfect. So the first thing you have to do is, I'm okay with what I can't do. Okay, and there are a lot of things that I cannot do, and some of them involve technology. But, there are a lot of things I can't do, but I'm fine with that. But what I am happy with is what I can do. And that's what I strive to do. And my other tip is to always keep moving forward. Okay. So I'm going to, you asked for, 3 to 5 tips. So I'm going to just start with those because those are the basics.
I love it. Connie, I think those are really great because first thing you're teaching people is perspective, right? So you're offering yourself grace for what you don't know, what you can't do. We all have different skill sets. You're also encouraging yourself and saying, wait a minute, but that's not an excuse to not do something. Maybe I can't do everything, but I can keep moving forward doing what I do know how to do. So I love that. I think it's really important. We know sometimes, Connie, people get overwhelmed when life is hard and when they feel frustrated, like, I can't do it, or I'm not being chosen. So when you're feeling stuck or frustrated because you can't do something or you don't get the opportunity to go after, how do you get back to a place of happiness then?
What a great question. We can't do everything, but don't let that overwhelm you. Just figure out how to overcome when you're at a standstill. Just figure it out. Stop and don't have a pity party that you can't do something. Just turn it around and find something happy. I so many times run into problems that I can't do, and I try to turn them around. Okay.
Give me an example, Connie. How do you do that? So right now I want you to learn a new app, and you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot learn this new app. What is this new app? What would you do in that situation?
Oh, in that situation, there's always YouTube. You can always find out how to do things on YouTube. And I also have 3 adult children who help me when I can't do something. But I always turn these no's around to something yes. For example, I had a recent kind of a no that really made me stand still. I actually am an inventor. And what happened was I was selected to be on a TV show for inventors.
Awesome.
And they had 10,000 people apply to be on the show. and they
Wow.
chose 40 plus 4 alternates. Well, I was an alternate.
Oh my God. Okay.
And so I was so excited but then I realized nobody who's on the show is going to cancel. So, I probably won't get on. But if the show gets picked up for season 2, then I will, I think I'll be on it. But meanwhile, I didn't really wait around because actually I am an inventor, and my product is for older people.
Okay.
My product is actually called Tip and Split. This is a product for people who who are like over 50 and have trouble reading the small print on the menu or on the bill when they go out to eat. So my invention has a magnifier. It has a light in the back because the restaurants are very dark. And it can also figure out your tip and split your bill in 3 seconds. So I was going to be on a TV show.
Was it Shark Tank?
No, it wasn't Shark Tank.
Okay.
It was, actually, I'm really not supposed to say the name of the show,
Okay.
but it was actually I just applied for Shark Tank with my new business just today.
Do it. You're going to be on Shark Tank. I can feel it, Connie. That's awesome.
Well, I'm hoping. But what happened was, because that I'm waiting for the second season to show up, I actually am meeting with somebody who's a master in licensing. Are you familiar with licensing?
Yes.
That's where you introduce your product to a company and see if they might want to take you on.
Yes.
So I don't sit around. So on Friday, I'm meeting with one of the top people in licensing, and I'm going to ask her for some advice, and I'm going to try to license my product to Texas Instruments.
Oh,
okay.
Because good luck with that. I hope that works out for you. I think one thing you're teaching us here, Connie, is whatever our story is, whatever our challenge is, don't give up. Keep going and be right. And do research, right? Like you said, I go to YouTube and I figure out how to do it. I have 3 adult kids. I have 3 adult kids too. And they tell me, Mom, 3 technology questions a day, and that's it. So I love you're a go-getter. You've applied for one show, you've applied for another, you've gone after investors, you've gone after licensing, you have big vision that a large company is going to pick you up and buy it. So I think you do the work. The other thing is that we don't just sit home, right? We don't just hope it happens. We go after it,
right?
And figure out a way to make it happen, even if there's a lot of obstacles along the way, right?
Right. So my interview is on Friday. So I spent this morning doing some research, and I found out there are 108 million people aged 50 and over in the United States. And once you hit like your mid 50s, the vision keeps going down and down. So I'm going to approach Texas Instrument. Why don't they open up their market to the older generation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not that people in their 50s are old, or even in their 60s, right? That's
well, I'm 74, so to me, 50 years old is very young.
Yeah.
But I know that when I turned 50, that's when my vision started getting worse. So I'm always doing research on it.
Yeah, you're a researcher and you're an inventor, so you have a very sharp mind to keep doing that. So, Connie, when you think about that, I love that you're creating a solution. You're a solution-oriented person. Sometimes people get stuck in the problems of I can't see, my eyes are aging, it's too dark, I don't know what the tip is, I don't know how to split the bill. You're saying, let me help you figure it out in 3 seconds. I love that. But do you think happiness, is it an inside job or an outside job? How do you think people get to a place of happy, especially those that struggle?
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm not really sure what you mean by inside or outside, but I think I would have to say it's an inside job, because happiness doesn't always just come to you. Sometimes you have to work on it. Okay. So I would say that's an inside job, and arm yourself with the tools.
Yeah.
So you can find the strength and the solutions to happiness. Like I'm just telling you one of mine.
Yeah.
And this is actually when you love what you do, it's so easy. That was not work for me.
Yeah.
It was not work for me to invent something. I have never invented anything in my life.
That's amazing.
And I've heard that 3 out of 10 people have an invention in their mind.
That's right.
and very few people follow through.
That's right.
Okay. So I'm one who said, why not? I mean, I had no idea how to invent anything, but I looked it up. I used my YouTube. I looked it up. I
Yeah.
found out how to do it. And, I learned how to do it. And I actually got successful at inventing. And I actually am a retired writing teacher. So
Yeah.
another thing that I did is after I had my invention, I actually wrote a book.
Good. I was thinking when you said everyone has an invention in them, I think everyone has a book in them. So what's your book, Connie?
My book is called How I Got My Product on QVC, The Today Show, The View, and More in my retirement.
Wow. That is fantastic. That's a great book. People need that book, right?
Yeah. Well, people who are inventors or who just want to learn how to get publicity.
Yeah.
So I actually got on all those shows with my invention.
That's
And
fantastic.
I didn't know how to do that.
I think you're talking about a lot of tools, Connie. Use the word tools, but so far you've talked about YouTube. That's one of your tools. You've talked about your adult children. That's one of your tools. You've talked about creating solutions. That's one of your tools. So you're not a person. Sometimes people sit in what doesn't work. My eyes are getting older. And you're like, okay, how do I fix this? And then not only did you say, how can I fix this? You said, what do people need? They need a light. They need a calculator for the tip. They need a calculator for the splitting, and they need a magnifying glass. And you put it all into one small thing that someone can stick in their pocket or their purse. So I love that. You're very solution oriented, and that is really important as an entrepreneur, but also as an influencer in the world. You're this grandmother who wants to spread joy, but not quit living. Keep going, keep inventing, keep creating, and keep putting yourself out there, even if you get rejected, to be on a talk show, to get your product to market, whatever the case is. So when you think, Connie, of happiness, do you think of what is the difference between happiness and joy? Are they the same thing? Do they feel the same for you? What does it look like?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think that joy is for events that happen, like when my grandkids do something new or show me something that they made for me, or draw a picture of old grandma. My granddaughter Victoria loves to draw pictures of me, and she calls me old grandma. And she also calls me grandma napkin. And she calls me grandma napkin because when she's eating something, rather than get a napkin, she takes my shirt and wipes her mouth on me. And I get joy out of that. It's amazing because I think it's so cute. That's not happiness. I think that's joy. It's momentary. Happiness is something that you have to kind of like have the idea to surround yourself with things that make you happy. For example, people.
Yeah.
I try to surround myself with people that make me happy. Not everyone makes me happy. I'm sure people can relate to that. Some people try and cut you down. Yeah. So I just have learned that if they're not going to make me happy, I'm not going to just say anything to them. Yeah. Certainly about not what makes me happy.
Yeah.
If something, like if I'm talking about my new invention, I don't want to share it to somebody who's going to knock me down, because some people just do that. So I think happiness is something you have to work towards and find out what prevents you from being happy and stay away from that.
I was thinking about that too, kind of. I was thinking, what does steal your joy? I've had the privilege of meeting hundreds of thousands of people literally all over the world. And I think one of the things that people most joy is being a grandparent. And a lot of things bring people happiness. But I also know there's things in life that sometimes steal our happiness. What is something that you seem like a very positive person and a very moving forward person? What is one of the things in life that steals your joy or happiness?
Something that steals my happiness. My goodness. Well, anything that steals my happiness is only temporary. As I gave you the example of this TV show. Oh my God, I was so excited. I went out to the store and I bought a beautiful outfit to wear on this TV show. So that sort of stealed it. Stealed it? Yeah.
Stole it for a moment.
I'm sorry. What is this? I'm a writing teacher.
And you also said you protect it, right? Like when someone is negative toward you or your product or your vision or your idea, you just kind of let them go and you keep going. And I think that is a part of wisdom, is that it used to be able to steal my spirit, steal my joy, people's words, people's thoughts, people wanting everyone to like you, like your ideas, like your vision, like your book, like your products. And there's something about wisdom that says, okay, I may not be everyone's cup of tea. My vision for my future, for my products, for my life, everyone else might not be able to see, but can I still like them and like myself and keep moving forward? And I think that's what you're talking about, Connie, is nothing's going to stop you, whether it's a
Right.
TV show or a person. You're going to keep moving forward, keep inventing, keep having vision. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter that you're a grandma. You're still young in spirit. And so you're going to keep moving forward. Can you tell us a couple things about your home life and your family that brings you joy and happiness? What are some of those things in your personal life?
Oh, well, one of the things is that I have 3 grandchildren who live near me. And actually, 2 of them used to live with me for
Oh.
5 years until my daughter got married and had another one. So now they just come and visit me every single day.
Oh.
They come home from school and they spend time with me and have dinner with me, and then they go home with their mom because I'm helping her to work, which she's doing. They don't really realize that I work too, but I will give up everything to be with those kids. So my home life is very important. And so I try to get everything done before 3:30, which is when the grandkids come over here.
Very nice. And that's a great thing about being an entrepreneur is, I mean, I'm usually up almost every day at 5 a.m. and I'm starting either sending emails or responding or getting my list together for the day. And so, yeah, we get to pick our hours and work when we want. So your grandkids bring you great joy in your life, great happiness. And the fact that you're so special to them, that every day very few people have a grandparent, let alone have one they get to see on a regular basis. And that relationship, I never had that, but it always sounds so magical to me. And
You will love it when you have it.
Yes, I hope someday that I'll be a grandparent, but.
I have 3 grandchildren in California, and I'm going to visit them in April, and I am so happy to get to see them. I haven't done much traveling because of COVID. So, but grandkids are wonderful.
Yes, it sounds wonderful. So
And
you have
children are wonderful.
two
What?
kids, two kids
I
or
have
three?
I have 3 children.
Okay. And they're all adults and 2 of them have kids?
Yes, 2 of them have children.
Nice. And what about your work? We've talked a little bit about that, but what are some of the things at your work that just bring you the greatest happiness?
Okay, so during COVID, I said you should always move forward.
Yeah.
So during COVID, I kind of put my invention on hold.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to encourage people to go out to restaurants. Most of them were closed down because of COVID, and people in my age bracket are especially susceptible to COVID, to getting COVID. So I started working on a new project.
Okay.
Because I'm always doing something new. Okay. So what I tried to do is, I was thinking about people like me who are stuck at home and don't want to go out. So what I did is I took the time to write my life story because I was thinking about, life could go at any minute, especially with COVID going on. Okay. And so what I did is I wrote my life story so that after I'm gone, my children and my grandchildren will know all about me long after I'm gone. So I wrote a book, and my book, actually, this is
a big book.
Yeah, this is my book, and it's different from most life stories because it's so easy to write, and it's even easier to read. It's all pictures with captions. And I'm trying to share memories. I want my kids to know that I used to be young once. That's a picture of me playing the violin. So I'm teaching Victoria how to play the violin. And I said, this is me when I was little. I was young once too. So what I did is I used my skills from when I worked. And now I'm teaching other people how to write their book, their life story.
Oh, awesome.
Because I was a teacher. So I'm working on that, and I'm having the time of my life. You
I
know,
think it's been when we move from how we, as we're younger, define success to significance, or how we move from just being go, go, go driven to like, what is my legacy? What am I leaving behind as an imprint, as a story, as an impact in the next generation, in my family, in the community? So I love that. I think that's really significant and legacy work. And
well,
I love the photos. Easy to read for those of us with dyslexia.
um,
So
so I'm one of the oldest people who's left in my family because my parents are long gone, and I have there are 6 siblings, and I'm the second oldest. So what I did is, after I'm gone, nobody's going to know these things. And one of the things that I found out, I did some research on my ancestry, and this is something my mother never told me.
okay.
Can you see this picture?
A little bit. A man and a woman, it looks like.
Yeah, this is Grandma Ella, and Grandpa Arthur.
Okay.
I never knew this. They immigrated to the United States from Poland in 1912, and my grandma had to cancel the trip because she had morning sickness. And the trip that she canceled was on the Titanic.
Oh my gosh.
So who is going to know about that after I'm gone unless I tell them?
Yeah.
So this is why I wrote my book. I have so many stories in my book that I did research on, and I'm leaving them behind.
So Connie, do you help other people write their book? So if someone wants to write a book, are you a book coach? Do you help edit? What part do you help people with their book?
Well, I actually have just started on this to help other people, and I have 3 levels, and I've been working on this, in my spare time besides my grandkids. And what I do is I will give them my course, which is 6 lessons. They can just buy my course, but I'm thinking about just giving that for free. The second program is they pay a little bit of money, and then I meet with them once a week for 6 weeks, and I give them feedback. And the third level is I will just write it for them. This is for people who have no skills with technology. Not that I'm any better, but I am a little better. I know how to scan pictures. So I give them homework, and then I write it up. And I just finished one for a woman who I tried to encourage her to work with me, but she didn't want to. She actually asked me to write it for her. It was for her husband. And so I had so much fun working with her. It took us 6 weeks. She has this beautiful book, and she just bought 6 more copies of it to give to family members. So I have 3 different levels. They can do it themselves, they can work with me once a week, or I will write it for them. So I'm just starting out on this. And as a matter of fact, just today I signed up for Shark Tank. Not for my invention. I had tried that one before and got to the final stage, but this morning I signed up for my book. I call it Write Your Selfie. And I'm going to hope that Shark Tank likes the idea, that they might like to promote it. So so I got an email from somebody. I was checking my spam. And he had sent me this guy in the Washington, D.C. area, which is where I'm from, sent me an email. Would you like to try out for Shark Tank? And I was so excited. So I just filled out the form this morning. So when you think about happiness, when you're doing something you love, nothing is work.
Yeah, that's right. If you love what you do, you should never work another day in your life. Well, Connie, I'm working on 4 books this year, so I might be reaching out to need help on a couple of those books that I'm putting together. They're a little different than your picture book, but you never know. Maybe we'll work together on a book in the future. And I have 2 more books I'm planning for next year, 4 for this year. We will see if I get them all done. But I love what you're doing. I love who you are. I love how you are passionate. You can hear it in your voice about who you are as a person, about your grandkids, about your kids, about your inventions, and about helping other people leave a legacy and share their story. So Connie, if people want to get a hold of you and just ask you some questions, maybe work with you on a book, maybe connect you, or their big company wants to buy your invention, how would they do that? What's the best way to connect with you?
Well, you can see under me is www.grandmapreneur.com. And on my website, I have one link to Tip and Split, my invention, and I have another one to Write Your Selfie. And on both of those, I have my email address.
Oh, perfect. Tip and Split. And what was the second one called?
Write Your Selfie.
Write Your Selfie. I love that title, Write Your Selfie. There's a group of women you might want to connect with called WOW. They're Women of Words. And I think they started 28 years ago. And one or two women who were writing novels, writing textbooks for colleges, writing different things. And now it's grown to an international group. They meet on Zoom. They meet in person all over Minnesota. I think there's 7 or 8 chapters. And then they meet on Zoom once a month. And Connie Anderson's the founder. It's called WOW, Women of Words. But I always love to promote it for other women writers. If you're feeling alone and isolated, get with each other. People help each other out. People encourage one another to get that book that was within all of us out into the world.
That's wonderful. So are you from Minnesota?
Yeah, I was there for 40 years, originally born in San Francisco. Then I moved to Champaign, Illinois for a number of years. I think I was 2.5 to 11, and then Minnesota 11 till last October. And I just moved to Florida. So now I live on the beach in Fort Myers. So across the street is the ocean. I can look out at that every day. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
So let me just tell you one thing about Minnesota.
Yeah.
My mother is from Minnesota, from St. Paul.
Okay. Yeah.
And in my book, because I want my kids to know about their heritage. My mother was the first female law student at the William Mitchell College of Law. Have you heard of that?
Of course. Yes, I know exactly where it is. It's right. We drive by it every time we go to the state fair.
And this is a picture. See, I'm saving everything for my kids. Can you see this?
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is my mother at her 50-year reunion. My mother died about 15 years ago, but 2 of her professors went on to become Supreme Court justices. Chief Justice Warren Burger and Harry Blackmun. Those were my mother's teachers.
Wow.
So I told that to my grandkids, because when they were learning about the Supreme Court, I said, guess what? Your great grandma went to school with 2 Supreme Court justices. I mean, she was a student of theirs.
Yeah.
So, all of these are little tidbits that I put down because I don't want people to forget. I want them to remember things about me and things about my parents and my grandparents.
Yeah. I hope they always want to remember. Sometimes people don't value as much the history as different generations have. Sometimes we're so busy moving forward that we forget to look back and learn the lessons from those who have gone before us and that have paved the way as a woman in law school. So I think those are great wisdom and values that people need to know about.
Well, I had about 17 photo albums in my house, and I went through those to find the pictures that evoked the most memories for me. Because I'm sure once I'm gone, all those photo albums will go in the trash. So they cannot throw away this book.
You're trying to make it. I understand, because we just downsized from a 6-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom condo, and we're asking the kids, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want? And people are like, kids don't care about China. They don't care about crystal. They don't care about photos. We have photo albums, and we did end up throwing a lot away. And the kids are like, no, we do it all digital now. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So it's different. So this will be an interesting thing. I love that you call it the selfie book. I think that's beautiful. And we never know, Connie, who's going to find or use what we create. And so I've written 5 books, and my first book I wrote kind of because people kept telling me to write a book about my story, and I didn't want to. So I wrote a book full of questions and quotes to get other people to write their story. But now today, people use it for date night. They use it to get their kids to communicate, their teenagers. They use it to interview people in a hospice. So I'm like, that's so beautiful. And my most recent book, my 5th book, just 2 weeks ago, I got an email from a woman out of New York who's a professor. And she said, I was trying to order this guy's book, and it was about hospitality, but somehow I accidentally ordered your book. But I loved it so much that now I'm making it mandatory reading for all of my college students. And so I think you produce it, Connie, and I know you're doing it for your kids and grandkids, but you might give somebody else a vision, and somebody else might use it in some magical, beautiful way. It might touch a life that you can't even envision right now. And that's been the beauty of books to me, is that if you're willing to open yourself up and do the work and produce it, it will be used by somebody in some magical way that you're helping another person in the world that you don't even know about. You know, that Titanic story. I mean, that's amazing. Who knows who needs to hear that story, right?
Yeah, and so I know it. I didn't even know it. My mom never told me. I found out through my cousin.
That's amazing.
Because it was his dad who our grandma was pregnant with. My
Oh,
mother never told me. I would have never known it. So I did a little bit of research
yes.
from my relatives. So I want to preserve these stories because that's incredible. I have so many other stories.
Yeah.
So when you're writing your next book, you contact me, because I actually taught writing for 40 years.
I know you said that. I'm like, I could use your help. Between being dyslexic and a terrible speller, writing books is very hard for me, but I feel very called to do it. And when people read my books and write what it means to them, then I just have to tell myself, keep going, keep going. But I can certainly use your encouragement and your wisdom on any of my books.
And I will definitely read your books. I'll get your books.
Oh, thank you, Connie. Thank you for being with us. We hope that we shared with you a little bit of hope if you're feeling hopeless, a little bit of health and encouragement to remind you to take care of yourself, use the right tools, get the right people around you, surround yourself with people that believe in you. Don't doubt you, don't doubt your products, don't doubt your message, and hopefully some happiness. You know, yes, happiness can come from the outside, it can come from the inside, it can come from people, it can come from getting that job that you love, that career, that calling, being an entrepreneur, and going after it. I'm Annie Meehan with H3 TV, spreading hope, health, and happiness everywhere I go. Thanks for being with me, Connie.
Thank you so much.